All right, we are back. This video is going to be about the makeup of a blue chip investment, reasons kind of how I pick and decide. Some of them obviously are no brainers. Other ones, it's more of kind of an outside thinking, popularity. Um, were they on an iconic team? Do they have an iconic sports card presence? Some players, just because they're great, but they have literally no sports card following. So that's kind of be what we're focusing on. So I'll get some graphics up here a little bit, but number one, you have to be a generational talent, which is kind of a no-brainer. We all collect, certain players, certain PCs. There are certain players every era that are great, but they aren't that great compared to the broad, playing career. So a perfect example is going to be quarterbacks in the NFL. Breeze, Brady, Manning, Rodgers, Mahomes. How do those line up and match up against the Favres, the Montanas, the Unitas's, the Dawsons, the great former Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So you got to think about that. They might be great, top two or three, during their era, but are they truly considered a blue chip from, the holistic perspective of everything? Again, another one is going to be record setters. And that is you need to have, scoring titles, passing yard records, really anything that's, considered a career milestone. We can start off with football. We'll go, since I've already kind of elaborated a little bit on it, Peyton Manning's a perfect example. He was the first person to break, most touchdowns in a season, before Brady, obviously. Career passing yards. I mean, he's up there in every single major statistical record. The issue with the modern day quarterbacks is the game's changed a little bit, but you can't take that away from him. And to me, I think Manning is going to be one of your. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame soon. He's a no-brainer, obviously. So I think he has the ability to can be considered, a blue chip investment from the quarterback standpoint with football. That's kind of what you want to stick with is in football is with quarterbacks. Now there are some outliers on that because I'm a big fan of Randy Moss and Larry Fitzgerald. I think what the two of them have done, along with Jerry Rice, but we're not talking about old time guys. What Randy Moss and Larry Fitzgerald have been able to do here recently. Yes, T.O.'s great. Marvin Harrison's great. But Larry Fitzgerald and Randy Moss, I think, are on another whole nother level when it comes to skill set, longevity, accomplishments. I mean, Randy Moss had the most touchdowns in a season 2007, 2008. Larry Fitzgerald is just a model of consistency. He's had so many quarterbacks, and they've all been so bad. The dude is still playing. Now, these cards I'm displaying I just picked them. By no means am I, saying, hey, go out and buy a 2004 Bowman Chrome Larry Fitzgerald white refractor. I mean, you could. It's a nice card, but, that's by no means his hot card. Randy Moss, same example. I just grabbed this one. It's the Encore Gold FX. I think it's out of like 500 or something. Yeah, I PC Moss. So, his Topps Chrome's probably his most iconic one. That and, of course, the SPS Authentic. Same with the Manning here. Excuse me. So, back to the reason why I picked these. Again, they're all going to be in the Hall of Fame. No doubt in my mind, going to be in the Hall of Fame. I would stay away from other wide receivers, especially in as well as running backs, and the defensive side of the ball when you're looking for true blue chip investments, things that will have lasting value beyond just the initial spike that may or may not happen. I mean, perfect example. I was big on Brian Urlacher. He's a great player. So many records, so many accolades. He just doesn't have a hobby, and that's the unfortunate side of this is, aside from him being an amazing player, it's just defensive players simply don't have a very good hobby for whatever reason. I'm trying to change that, but so wide receivers and Hall of Fame quarterbacks, you can't go wrong, and that's something you need to focus on. Um, Another thing that kind of matters, but not so much, is the team that they played for. I think in the NFL you can get away with really any team. Some other sports, like obviously basketball, I mean, it's all about the Lakers, all about the Celtics, the Knicks. Players like teams like that, Bulls, organizations that have the winning history, the winning mentality, are obviously going to help out from the collector standpoint. Um, Baseball, it's kind of the same way. I mean, the Yankees are by far the sports team. The Dodgers are by far the sports team that you're really going to want to be trying to focus on. So typically, if that's a major plus, if the player played for a historically traditional powerhouse, that's why Mantle and Ruth are all considered great blue chip investments, because they, the Yankees, and of course their personal statistics, which baseball is a little bit different. It's not about the world championships. It's not about the MVPs. It's about the statistics sometimes, and baseball is a little bit different when it comes to picking out who you want to invest in. A couple other quarterbacks I'm kind of watching. Like I said, I touched base a little bit. Breeze obviously is going to go down in history. I mean, he just continues to put up gaudy numbers year after year. By the time he's retired, I wouldn't be surprised if he's, number one in passing, number one in touchdowns, passing Manning for, pretty much everything. And then Rodgers, I mean, he's just, I don't know. He's kind of on the fence for me. I mean, there's a couple players. I mean, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. Would I consider him a blue chip investment? He's a fringe at this point. And then, of course, Tom. What he's done and been able to do is never going to be replicated. I mean, nobody's going to win 6 Super Bowls ever again. It's just not going to happen. The NFL's too challenging. He took less money. His numbers are gaudy. He's what, second or third now in yards, touchdowns, passing Manning this past year. Dude's 42, 43 years old. He's going to continue to put up numbers as careers go on. So just some examples of players that I consider decent blue chip investments from the modern guys. Now, obviously, I'm not going to talk about the 80s, Montana and things of that nature. I mean, those are obvious things. We're trying to look for some blue chips with continued investment power. All right, so now we're going to jump into baseball. Baseball, to me, there's not really a whole lot of modern or current guys that are going to fall into that category for me. We'll start with current. Obviously, I think Mike Trout has the ability to continue. He's 28 years old. He's already got 3 MVPs. I think he's won the Silver Slugger 6 or 7 times. Been an all-star for almost every single year he's played. He just signed the richest contract in baseball history. He is what every young kid wants growing up to be, and that's what you want to try to find when you're looking at your blue chips, is your super popular players that are successful and continue. Those are going to be the iconic key blue chip investment pieces you are going to want to get. Yeah, it's kind of boring. It's kind of lame, but I mean, let's be honest here. Another example from my childhood is Ken Griffey Jr. Everybody wanted to be like Ken. Everybody wanted to watch Ken, get a Ken jersey. Nike, I think, was his promoter or his sponsor, so everybody had to have Nike Ken stuff. The dude's got 10 Gold Gloves, I think 6 or 7 Silver Sluggers. I think he got an MVP. He never won a World Series, unfortunately. He's 7th in home runs, I believe. He got passed. But I mean, this is the 90s icon. This is the 2000s icon. And then this guy right here is going to be your, mid 2000s to current icon is Derek Jeter. The dude did nothing but win. His defense was stellar. Played for the Yankees. He just got elected into the Hall of Fame. He owns a sports franchise. I mean, the list continues as to why he's a solid blue chip piece. He's in the spotlight. He owns the Marlins. He's still relevant. And that's the thing, is a lot of these guys get forgot over time. And I think that's a lot of what people need to understand is, when it comes to cards, when you retire and you're no longer playing, you get forgotten about. right? Like, perfect example was the Brian Urlacher I mentioned earlier. Everyone forgets Brian Urlacher, but he was the heck of a linebacker in the NFL. One of the best for years, and is completely forgot about, has little to no hobby. No different than baseball. Alex Rodriguez, Albert Pujols, guys like this who are just tremendous gaudy numbers. Pujols is on the fringe for me. Only reason why is he hasn't done a lot lately, and I think he's kind of skipping out. Miguel Cabrera is another perfect example. Gaudy numbers, but he doesn't have the hobby love, and that's what you need to understand. They're great players, great potential, great everything, but they just don't have the hobby love. And this is going to be a kind of I don't know if it's going to be a shock to some, but actually let's just get rid of Trout here. Is Ichiro. And here's why I think he's a great investment. First off, the dude's played 28 years of professional baseball for starters. I think, 92, 93 he started over in Japan. Some of his numbers, I'm going to combine these numbers, okay? Listen to this. 17 gold gloves between the two leagues, okay? 17 All-Stars. 7 gold gloves. I'm trying to make these somewhat equivalent. He's won the MVP 4 times, once in baseball, professional baseball, MLB, and then 3 over there in Japan. He's got 4,200 plus hits, which, if you combine those two, is most ever. He's 3,000 hits, obviously, in Major League Baseball, which is insane. Plus, you have, the American market. And then you also have the Japanese market. So from a hobby perspective, these are little subtle things that a lot of people don't think about. Baseball's a little bit different. You can get away with not winning. Ichiro's never won a World Series. He won 3 in Japan. But these are just like little things that people don't think about. Is baseball? It's an individual sport, but it's not at the same time. So from the statistic standpoint, you can get away with, Trout, hope to God he doesn't ever not get a World Series win, but his numbers are insane right now, but he hasn't been able to get himself over the hump and get that championship. Jeter's got 5, but he played with some great players as well. Griffey's got 0. So that's that. Those are my baseball guys. Again, there's so many legendary baseball blue chips, but these are just your kind of modern ones. In baseball, obviously this is, Jeter's probably most iconic one. That's probably the same for Ichiro, the Topps Chrome traded. I probably have here's the Griffey. That's the most iconic Griffey. Oh, come on. His upper deck one. And then the Trout obviously was the Topps update, but I grabbed this one instead, the Bowman Chrome draft. All right. So now we're going to switch over to basketball. One card I actually don't have anything on me right now is LeBron. So I find that kind of odd, actually. It's probably in the safety deposit box, but his cards have shut up so much lately that I've kind of moved some things around. So for basketball, it's a little bit different. Again, we'll start with LeBron. Dude is insane. He's 3 championships. Multiple MVPs. He's working his way up the scoring list, all-time scoring list. Finals MVP 3 times, 4-time MVP, 3rd in scoring currently. He's 38. He's probably got 3 or 4 more good years in him. He's just going to continue to soar, and I think LeBron is the blue chip investment of the last 30, 40 years. Right up there with Jordan. So I'm not going to show Jordan, but Jordan is obviously a blue chip. Everybody knows it's a no-brainer. So now a couple other ones that I feel are blue chips is Tim Duncan. Now, his hobby isn't quite there. They say don't invest in centers, but I think from a statistical perspective, Tim Duncan's numbers demand and deserve, and I think there might be start to get some hobby love on him. He's 5-time NBA champion, MVP 3 times at the finals, 2-time regular MVP, 15 All-Star games. His score, he's only 17th in scoring, but he was more of a balanced. He's all defense everything. I'm sure his rebound numbers, I didn't look up his rebound numbers. I'm sure they're right up there all time. Blocks are right up there all time. The dude was just a great player. for the Spurs. Next is going to be Dirk. Now, he's a little confusing to me. He wouldn't necessarily check all the boxes. He's a quiet, reserved, laid-back kind of guy. He's a generational talent, yes. Does he have all sorts of records? He's sixth in scoring, but he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's got some iconic cards. The top's chrome, this SP Authentic. The Mavs were moderately popular, but the one thing that I really, really like about him is the fact that he's going to capture another market besides just the U.S. and being from Germany. So he'll have the European market as well, which is starting to take off in cards. So again, another thing to think about when you're looking to invest in players is it's more than just the stats. And it's more than just he was great during his time. No, like the dude was legit, sixth scoring all time. 14-time All-Star. Dirk. So it's a little bit more than just a decent elite player, during his time. Another guy which I've been adding to my collections is Dwayne Wade. And he's an interesting guy. Scoring, he's not, I don't know, he's probably like 30th in scoring. He won a finals MVP. He's a 3-time NBA champion, 13 NBA All-Stars, but he's staying relevant. Okay. And here's why. Obviously he's got his kids, that he's helping, grow up and become great, NBA players. He's in the limelight a lot with his son. He's going through the politically correct term, I guess, transgender, but not really. I'm not sure all the details on it, but he's staying in the limelight as his career has wound up ending. And that to me is going to benefit him and his card prices. Plus he's got the ties to LeBron. And I think if you have any tie to LeBron and you're a great player, it's going to carry over. This 03 Topps Chrome set that LeBron's rookie card is in is going to continue to go up only because of LeBron's Topps Chrome rookie card. All right. Like Carmelo, you can make a case for Carmelo and Bosch's cards. Now, I'm not considering them blue chips by any means, but you can make a strong case that you probably could see a little bit of movement on those cards only because they're from the 03 Topps Chrome. Now, this last one, I've obviously major Kobe fan, and the news that happened tragically, last weekend, hit close to home. I've got Kobe jerseys. I've got so many Kobe cards. I can sit here and, I dug through my box here. Dude, look, like this is my stack of Kobe cards. Like, I can sit here, I've got so many of these I need to go through, to look at, but, anyway, so Kobe is obviously, even before that, I had him pegged as a blue chip investment, and I did sell a few things, with his passing. You'd kind of be a fool not to. I kept a lot of my more, my favorite ones. Here's a couple of them that I just have sitting here chilling, up in my display case. I just like the way that looks. The metal, is a sick. I've got some more of these in tin form. The finest with coating. Kobe's going to continue. I think you're going to see a massive spike right now, obviously, but as the news starts to wear off, his prices will start settling down. They're never going to go back down to what it was before, deservingly so. He was undervalued at the time. For those of you that had the foresight, I guess, so to speak, to be on him. The dude's got 5 NBA championships, 2-time final MVP, 18 All-Stars, 1 MVP. What he was doing in the community with his family, with the Lakers, continuing to be in that spotlight. He was the prototypical blue chip investment piece you look for. Somebody after retirement that's continuing to make an impact through, philanthropic type opportunities, or even just trying to, get involved in an organization. Former team, another team like Jeter. You have to continue to be popular, stay on TV, stay relevant, things like that. Shaq is another perfect example on being on TV. I have some Shaq cards, but I don't know. He's on a fringe on me just because of the fact that there's not a lot of hobby love for centers. So I kind of omitted him from the list. Dynamic player, multiple NBA, multiple MVPs, multiple scoring. I mean, the dude was insane, but he lacks that iconic sports card. He grew up in the junk wax era, and he played for the popular. He checks so many boxes, but card prices matter, and that's the thing. Shaq just doesn't have the love. He's still on TV, TNT, doing his thing. He's a generational talent. Shaq is everything, but his card prices just don't do it for me, and I think that's why I omitted him from this list. So we'll put up a little display here to kind of reiterate everything, but mainly, number one, you got to be a generational talent. You have to be a record setter, and I'm talking about good career milestones. Home runs, RBIs, hits in baseball, scoring, leader in basketball, passing yards, passing touchdowns, in football, wide receiver, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, most points in a game in the NBA. Kobe's got 82, 81 point game. Like, come on, man. Duncan never did that. Dirk never did that. Wade never did that. LeBron can't even freaking do it. So, it's beyond just the numbers, and again, you got to be that popular polarizing figure, and I think that's kind of where, everyone hates Brady, but they love him, and they need to understand that he's the freaking GOAT, right? So buy some Brady, man. You won't be disappointed. Same thing with Jeter. Here, I actually want to talk about another sport. So I don't really know a whole lot about this, but everybody knows Messi, Lionel Messi. He is a master of the footwork in the base or in soccer. Statistic wise, I'm sure he's won all sorts of crazy stuff. Everybody talks about Messi, Ronaldo, and Pele. So I've been picking up some of these iconic blue chips. I can give you the numbers up on the screen. But anyway, and then we're just going to do some hockey just because, I think hockey's, I think these are the three best hockey players in history. They're older, so this is going to be the only cards that are older than what I was previously showing. So first we're going to do Wayne Gretzky, who's probably the best. And then we're going to do Gordie Howe. And again, when you buy these cards, these are your older cards, so, you can buy a nice 5 or 6, and it's perfectly acceptable to pick those up. They're going to cost a fortune. None of these are their rookie cards. I think this is a second-year Wayne. I think these are probably 6th or 7th year Gordie Howe and Bobby Orr. I think this is his, well, never mind, his 5th or 6th year. This Gordie Howe, when did he start? Yeah, he's had 1,000 games played in 1962. So just showing off some base from some soccer as well as some hockey. Again, these are the only ones I really have. I've just started getting into it a little bit, and again, that's all I have. I just wanted to kind of go over why I pick blue chips, who I'm picking, why I'm picking, and maybe help you get some tips on, who you could potentially pick. Like I said, there's plenty out there. It's just might not just be a fan like Brady. I don't like Brady, but I picked him because he's the GOAT, right? But anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us.